Next up is Dr. Gary Faulkner with Alberta Health Services with the Glenrose Rehabilitation Hospital. Now, Dr. Gary Faulkner is the Director of Rehabilitation Research and Technology Development Department, and his group is responsible for facilitating research, technology development, and innovation with both internal and external partners. In addition, they also focus on translational rehabilitation research, supporting Glenrose's clinical activity. Leading the future in innovation of technology to improve rehabilitation for patients' journey at the Glenrose Rehabilitation Hospital, Hockey Nation. Dr. Faulkner.
Thank you very much. As was said, I'm from the Glenrose Hospital, and we're always looking for ways to use technology to help people with disabilities. And so the story I'm going to try to tell you is one that occurred without us really knowing about it. That's what I call serendipity. So serendipity just means to me that good things happen without planning, and sometimes that's the case. So if I can, then I'd like to start the presentation. And this is the story of a little girl called Brianna. Brianna and her family were visiting here on vacation, and they were just undergoing a move to Eastern Canada. And all of a sudden, Brianna got ill. Don't know why. She was just a normal, about 10-year-old child. And all of a sudden, she started to have headaches. And they just got worse. Parents asked her, "Did you fall? What happened?" Nobody could answer the question. So she went to Sherwood Park Clinic, and they looked at her, said, "We can't do anything." They rushed her to Stollery. Stollery very quickly had her examined and found out that she'd suffered a brain bleed. This meant that she was going to have to undergo neurosurgery. Very scary. Here was this poor girl, here just on vacation, playing with her friends, and within a few hours, she was going in for brain surgery. So after surgery, she had to learn to do her normal activities all over again. She spent 2 weeks at the Stollery. During that time, they found that she really didn't respond to any kind of therapy. Everything was boring. At the end of that time, she left 2 weeks, and she came to the Glenrose Rehab Hospital. Now, we have to back up 2 years from when she came, because the therapists at the hospital are always looking for innovation and new ways to do things better. And so they had been discussing, how can we get children involved in their rehab therapy? And they said, well, what do kids like to do? Well, most Canadian kids anyway like to play hockey. So could we do something to introduce hockey into their therapy? Because if you're engaged in it and you enjoy it, it'll help you. So we set about, with some partners from NATE, to develop a hockey game that could help the kids at our hospital through their rehab journey. It would be increasing as they got better to increase their ability, and it could engage them in their therapy. And so we developed a hockey game along with the students at NATE, and this is actually a Nate Ukpik, who was going to be the avatar for the hockey game. So we actually captured his motion just like they do for the action movies. And there you see the avatar that came out of that from this Nate Ukpik. Now we had to go further than that because we wanted this game to be as realistic as possible. And so we had to get some money. That's always the problem. And how are we going to get the money? Well, the students would work for free. That was great. This was a project for some of the NATE students in their final year, and they were able to decide that they were going to build a game in which the player would be either a shooter or a goalie. So you could learn to shoot or you could learn to catch. And you could play it in a wheelchair or harness. And so we got some money from TELUS. Thank them again. And that money was doubled up by another company called Can-Am Geomatics, which is a surveying company. And this allowed us to hire a student company. Student company was called 8-Bit 3D. And they got a contract to develop the graphics for the hockey game. Now this all occurred long, long before Brianna had her accident. So the Hockey Nation was developed, and it had characters, it had animated scenes, there was some audio given to it, and it just happened to get finished just before Brianna moved from the Stollery to come to the Glenrose. So here's Brianna. It turned out that she had played hockey in a league prior to her injury. She came from Ontario originally, and this gave her a chance to get back into the game. Now, as I said, when she came, she was in a wheelchair. But very soon, here you can see her playing as a goaltender, very soon she was able to get up. At first, she only was able to stand for a few minutes. But she persisted, played the game more and more, both as a goalie and as a shooter. As I said, she could only stand for 5 minutes, and here she is being assisted by a therapist who was helping her to move. She was very brave. She didn't have a harness, and we should have had a harness on her, but no, she didn't want the harness. And pretty soon, though, she was able to work up to 45 minutes in a session. Now, the game was developed so that it could improve her abilities. We could do a number of things with it. She didn't have to feel as though she couldn't measure up. We could just keep increasing the difficulty of the game. So as a goalie, she could now face multiple shooters. We could increase the size of the net so she'd have to reach further. As a shooter, she had to shoot more rapidly, and she had to shoot more accurately. So the game allowed her. So that's serendipity. The game just happened to come together when Brianna needed it. We didn't plan it. Brianna and her parents feel that it was just amazing that this happened when they were on vacation in Sherwood Park, and that she got the surgery, got the hockey game, and started back on her journey. So she applied, put in the courage it took to do it. We tried to put in the innovation. That's just serendipity. Thank you very much.
How awesome is that? Thank you so much, Dr. Faulkner, for that.